This is John Tucci with Everblue Lakes here, a day and a half into our smart watershed management project on one of our lakes in Michigan. It's a stormwater filtration project that we're doing here. And this is a day and a half's worth of labor with our crew and about $1,500 in materials. So not a huge expense to actually do quite a bit of work and a pretty technical solution that I'll talk to you about in a minute. But first, here's a look at the lake we're trying to protect. And you can see we've got another about 40-foot length of ditch here that we're going to come back next week and install a couple of additional smaller check dams just to catch anything that might make it through our main filtration system, which we'll go over that in a bit. I don't think anything will, but it'll also catch anything coming off the yard that might want to flow down this ditch and head toward the lake. So a little bit more work to do, but this is the main show. And what you can see here is a culvert up by the road, and actually that's a double culvert. So there are two culvert pipes draining two different storm drains at two different levels from the street. And the first thing we did was did a tremendous amount of armoring of that culvert with stone. So there's multiple layers of stone, and we repurposed the stone we actually dug out of the existing ditch and used it in the upper end up there because it was good size, and repurposing the materials we had. And so the idea there is that the water will come off the road and hit those stones and get slowed down and filter through about 1.5 to 2 feet of that rock before it flows into our main filtration cell here. And the purpose of this cell is to hold as much water as possible, as long as possible, and get that water to infiltrate into the ground rather than flow downhill. And so at the end of this filtration, what looks like a pile of rocks here is actually a very sophisticated use of some geotextile material and filtration material to create a filtration dam that will let some water through, but it'll do it very slowly and maximize the amount of time that this basin will hold water and allow it to filter into the ground through our filtration stone and just into the groundwater here. Any water that makes it out of that filtration cell, either through the filter or over the top in a heavy event, will continue down this filtration, second stage of filtration, through the infiltration stone, and then hit our second major filtration feature here, which is a filtration dam that actually cuts into the yard. And the purpose of this is to take any water coming down this flowway, stop it with another sophisticated filter dam in the middle of that, in the middle of the existing ditch. And then that continues into the yard underground. And so the water is going to hit that and be slowed down and come up. And actually, if it does flow above ground at all, will flow along the rocks and the infiltration stone and actually flow out gently in a fan out into the yard and basically water the grass. So we're trying to, with this cell, the purpose is to take all the water from the street, regardless of the size of the event, filter it multiple times through filtration cells and infiltration stone, and try to get it into the ground and have it stay in the ground. And then anything that does make it all the way down to here, we're looking to have come up and out and water the grass. Next spring, you can see I started to paint it out. We'll also work with the homeowner, and they may end up doing some plantings or gardening here that would love to have that water, any water that comes into the ground here from our filtration cell, or even flows out from the top of our cell here. So pretty neat project. Again, not a lot of not a lot of money to do this. Day and a half labor, a lot of work, multiple person crew, but again, under $1,500 of material, and we still have quite a bit extra up top that we're going to use to finish up the last part of this and actually do a few more small projects around this lake with that material. So would give us a call or visit us on the web if you've got issues with your lake, both in lake and in the watershed. We are known for our creative approaches to making lakes healthier. And for projects like these, the most important thing we bring to the table is the expertise. We can teach you in your lake community how to do this or this kind of work fairly easily. We've got several lake associations that have done just that. So they haven't hired us to use our labor. They just worked with us on a consulting basis to develop some plans and order the right materials. And then they've done them as community improvement projects using their own folks on a volunteer basis. So great example of how you can get involved to protect your lake. Simple materials, simple process. Just come to us and we'll show you how to do it. John Tucci with Everblue Lakes. Call us at 269-383-3400 or visit us on the web at everbluelakes.com.